Mr. City Manager?
Madam Mayor,
T.
I make a motion to remove the item tab T.
A second for discussion?
No, I make a motion to remove the item.
Okay, okay.
She is moving it.
Second by Mr. Galvin.
thank you.
Discussion open?
My question is simply,
Yes. I
my
did.
question is simply this: is this just taking the money that we've received from the federal government, from HUD, and breaking it down into the allocations that are presented to us this evening? X number of dollars for this, X number of dollars for that, et cetera? Is that all that this is doing tonight?
Yes,
Okay. And the community-based nonprofit groups, $118,000, are we still going to be giving that away in the December timeframe like we normally do?
correct, that's correct. CBOs and the percentages that you see are regulated by HUD or recommended by HUD. Some of the percentages, for instance, for the CBOs under public services, under Exhibit 1, if you note, the city has 15%, and the year, this is one of the best years that we've added more to it. We've done 11%, 12%, but this year we're doing 15%. So the allocations are distributed as stated in Exhibit 1.
Thank you. That's the only question I had, Ms. Mayor.
Anyone else has any questions?
No.
Mr.
Clerk?
Clerk, please.
Madam Mayor.
Yes,
public-
public forum. We need to open public forum on this. I'm sorry. It's getting late. Public forum is now open on item T. Anybody wishes to speak on this item may do so now. No one? Public forum is now closed. Mr. Clerk, would you please do roll call?
Councilwoman Keys,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sterrill,
Yes.
Councilman Galvin,
Yes.
Mayor Thundro,
Yes.
and Councilman Biename.
Yes.
Measure passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Tab U. A resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, related to a pre-arrest diversion program and authorizing the city manager and city attorney to do all things necessary to determine the feasibility and implementation of a 6-month pre-arrest diversion pilot program, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
I have a question for staff, Madam
Do we
Mayor.
have a motion?
Where's Chief Elias?
So we can discuss it?
Resolution passed.
City manager?
What?
I'm sorry?
Are you asking us if we're moving it?
So I can discuss and answer the different questions. I believe the chief has a presentation on do, or you city manager, you're gonna do discussion on this?
Yes.
Okay.
I move it for discussion.
For the sake of discussion.
Did I hear Councilman Biename make the motion to approve?
No.
Oh, okay.
City manager.
Madam Mayor, do you want to
Please.
open public hearing? Or
First, and then we discuss.
after you discuss it? Okay. So does someone want to?
We need to, I'm waiting for a motion.
Okay.
Doesn't seem that there's a motion. Can we-
Do I hear a motion on type U?
Madam City Attorney, what happened when there's no motion? Can you
So,
go over
that's
the
it. Item
rules
fails.
on what do we do?
For item fails for lack of motion.
Lack of motion. Do I hear a motion in a second? Item fails for lack of a motion. Let's move on. Tab V. City clerk.
An ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending chapter 19 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Utilities, specifically at Article 3, Division 3, entitled Backflow Prevention, by amending section 19-80 entitled Installation of Backflow Prevention Devices, Permit Procedure, section 19-81 entitled Inspections, and the inclusion of a new section 19-83 entitled Enforcement, to allow City of North Miami approved and licensed contractors to perform installations, inspections, and certifications of backflow prevention devices required in a cross-connection control program in accordance with local government permitting requirements, the U.S. Safe Water Drinking Act of 1974, and the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, providing for conflicts, repeal, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Thank you. Public hearing is open on item V.
And I'm sorry, for the record, this is the first reading, not the second reading. Apparently it said second reading up there, but it's first reading.
Is
Okay.
it first reading? Was it this item before?
It was there
last week?
last meeting. It was there.
I have the note
On
here.
the June 25th, this came up, and I believe that city manager had to do some research, or city attorney, and bring back answers that a council had.
So because apparently it wasn't voted on, I have the note here that this is considered the first reading, Mayor, and not the second. That's what I have.
It was proposed to city attorney to do some research on it and bring some answers
Was it voted
to
on?
council.
It was not
It wasn't
No.
voted on, so
It
today
wasn't.
is first reading.
May
Very
I,
good.
Madam?
Public,
May
yes.
Well, we need to clarify, I'm sorry, we need to clarify if it was not voted. Madam City Attorney, it's on. Madam City Attorney, or did we vote on it?
Apparently, you did not vote on it, so it is
Okay.
first reading.
So that's mean, what do we do right from there?
So we
If it's
go through the process for first reading.
So, legally, can we move on with a process that was falsely advertised, or it's not make the qualification of falsely advertised?
No, you've advertised it. It was advertised as second reading, but it's a first reading. It will be advertised again, so there's no harm in the public will have two opportunities to speak on this matter.
Okay.
Now, public forum is open.
Esther Blinn, 1990 Northeast 118th Road. The issue of what has to be done is clear from the statutes. The issue of who has to pay for it, how much it will cost, and whether, as was proposed by the prior council, a council member anyway, that for the residences, that the city absorb the cost of the access fees for the second water meter and the inspections. Furthermore, Mr. Ghani is not here to speak to, is he?
No, he's not. He's not.
So it would seem to me, as much as you may not like it, or as much as you may like it, given the hour, it would be good to table this matter, because there are plumbing contractors. There's hundreds of emails, because as I'm speaking now as Vice President of the Sans Souci Homeowners Association for External Affairs, and this is an issue about which we had extensive discussions. And there are special certifications for backflow prevention plumbers that may or may not have made their way, those plumbers, to the city of North Miami, but they've made their way to Miami-Dade County. Some of the fees that the plumbers are charging are exorbitant compared to other cities where these certified plumbers are active, number one. Number two, since the commercial properties have to have this backflow system, but the residences do or do not, depending on who's speaking, I think we ought to separate out the residential issues that are particular to the backflow and the
Thank
second
you.
meter and the
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Blend.
commercial.
Thank you, Mrs. Blend.
And so my time's up.
Your time's up. Thank you.
Okay, so I would suggest that the item be deferred so that Mr. Ghani can speak to it on first and second reading.
Madam Mayor, member of the council, Joe Celestine, 135 Northeast 3rd Court. My clock, I gotta go fast. I just want you make clear that you guys understand what this item is all about. The EPA, Miami-Dade County, and the DEP has regulations that mandate that anybody with commercial property that does not have a backflow preventer, they must install a backflow preventer to prevent communication between their use of water and to our water system. And also, those of the residents of the city of North Miami with second meter dealing with landscaping, irrigation, also are required because the water coming from the ground to water or to irrigation water is not treated. The water going that way is not treated, so coming back into our system, it is required to have the backflow prevention as a matter of public safety or public health. What this ordinance is about, it's about the calibration and the certification of the backflow. It is not about the actual backflow, but it's about the certification of the backflow. That is a yearly certification to make sure the system is working. And Miami-Dade County and all cities have to comply with the state requirement. So what we are doing right now in the city, what the city is asking you to do, is to pass this ordinance so you can comport to the state and federal law, which you are not in compliance right now, and which EPA can fine you for that, for not being in compliance. So just for the calibration, and those who are certifying these backflow preventers, not just being a plumber is enough. You have to have a state certification as a person licensed to do the calibration for the backflow preventer. However, I know Councilwoman Keys talk about the cost of the backflow the last
Thank you,
time,
Mr. Sinister.
but if you don't have a backflow, you would have to buy one.
Thank you. Public hearing is still open.
Good evening. William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. Of course, this is required, and it's a great thing to have the backflow inspected. We don't want to have polluted drinking water. The question is it really best to have the burden or the task of regulating this in the hands of each individual, whether the residential, whether the commercial? Is it good to pass on that stage and that requirement and have them go through that battle, each of the people throughout the city, that battle of trying to find somebody to inspect, to do the repairs, and to do the rest of the stages, and to then juggle the costs and such? Would it not be an economy of scale if we were to say that all people that are qualified, all plumbers that are qualified to do the inspection, basically they're all qualified, they therefore in some ways equal and all acceptable? Could we not put out a bid and say, of all of you, the city is going to be doing this, is going to recommend somebody, and that we'd like a competitive bid? And Inspector A may say he'll do it for $100, Inspector B may say we'll do it for $50 each time, and someone will say maybe we'll do it for $25. And basically, because they're all equal and even, we can pick the most competitive price. And the city can just implement that and say, go out to that or go to this individual. There won't be any debate on the price. It'll be the most optimal for everyone, and it's more likely that it'll be actually implemented. It'll be less business for the city to enforce, because if people are left to go off to this, it's a challenging task, and therefore there's a good chance you're not going to get people going through and executing this as you wish. You will now burn up time and energy trying to enforce it and follow it up. So just for consideration, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other person who wishes to speak on item V? Public forum is still open. Public forum is now closed. You, City Attorney, was been directed last week, 2 weeks ago, to do some research and bring some answers to us and to the residents regarding that particular item. Did you find anything?
Yes, ma'am. If you recall, last year this council passed an ordinance which passed the pricing, the cost to the consumer. So that was passed last year. That's in your current ordinance. So the consumer has to pay for the installation, repair of the backflow devices. Mm-hmm. That's not why we're here today. What this ordinance today does, it requires the a validly licensed contractor, mm-hmm, rather than the city to certify the backflow devices. That's it. With respect to Councilwoman Key's concerns about what happens if a resident can't do it for whatever reason, we've amended the ordinance which is sub D, which states that the city reserves the right to inspect, test, and certify should the homeowner fail to do so. So that would be your catch-all provision if, for whatever reason, a homeowner cannot do so, and that cost would then be absorbed by the city, passed on to the homeowner to be reimbursed.
Councilwoman Keys have raised issues in terms of how do they know the contractors that they are going to hire to do this work is kosher?
Right. So let
We
me.
in the city have a list of. I'm sorry.
Right. So Miami-Dade County has a list of approved certified contractors. The city has a list of certified approved contractors that will be continued to be updated. And so any resident or commercial owner, once that person is certified, it's like you're certified as an RN, and if you've taken your test and you're qualified and certified to practice whatever that particular discipline is. Once you're certified, and anyone on that list is competent to then certify the backflow devices.
Now, hearing Mr. Celestin's intervention earlier regarding who should be certified or able to do this particular type of work, and who should not, the list that we have as providers from the city, are these going to be the ones only that are certified for that particular line of work? And the pricing, I remember, was the other issue as well. Are each of them allowed to charge what they want?
Right. So unfortunately, we cannot govern the prices of commercial businesses. So the market will dictate what the market dictates. And
You're going to give us a list of 200 contractors, let's say, and everybody picks one?
So if you are a homeowner, you have had your backflow device certified every year. So if for whatever reason the person you used last year you're not satisfied with, then you would say, I need a new.
It's a yearly thing.
It's a yearly thing.
So
it's an
this
annual.
is not anything new for the residents or
and residents
commercials.
do not typically call the city looking for
Okay.
for contractors.
Okay.
This is not a novel operation here, and it's not an issue
Okay.
with the residents.
Councilwoman, you wish to speak?
I would, thank you. I appreciate you adding my recommendation that a resident shouldn't have to go out and start finding contractors. But since we've done that, and we have some constituents who have been working on this issue, and have called several of the companies on the list, several of the contractors are no longer in business. According to a constituent, the lowest price for a inspection, this is an annual inspection, this is not the one-time installation. An annual inspection, the lowest amount was $100 annually, and one company in Opelika wants as much as $175. Now this is only for the residents with the second irrigation meter. Right now, we still have an issue, because just to have a second irrigation meter, it is costing people anywhere between $70, $100, $300 quarterly just to have the meter. Now we're hitting them with an additional charge of between an unknown charge of between $100 and $175. It used to cost $25 a year, I believe, was the inspection. These companies are saying that the city is charging these companies $20 just to submit the information online to the city. So with 500 irrigation meters, just in the residential, the city is charging $10,000 just to transmit data. Now, let me just finish. I think it's really a burden. It's a financial burden on these people with these meters, and they've already gotten hit, I think, unfairly. Now, Mr. Previtel came up with a very good solution, I believe, where it's okay with me that the citizens pay, but it should be a fair charge. It shouldn't be onerous. They shouldn't have to go shop for 20 companies. And if what you've done is you've allowed the city to do this. But I think according to Mr. Prevotel, if we would go a step further and talk to, or do a like little RFP and ask these licensed contractors to please submit to the city that they would come in because they're going to get the volume business. And a lot of them were already aware of this. Oh yes, we'll be right out there, it's $20. They already know about this. So I think we should contract with however many contractors to do this for $50 or $75 because they will be getting the volume, and keep a lid on it. Because what we've done with this resolution is we've taken the
Councilwoman,
price
isn't
out.
that at the discretion of the homeowner to choose
But
who they want?
the
Let me ask the
problem
city
is
attorney
they're
a
having
question.
they're having to shop,
Let me ask
every
her-
year.
Well, we shop
and the
for
minimum is
everything else.
$100 a year. Why doesn't the city get us a good contract and have it taken care of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I just address the pricing issue? Unfortunately, I think what's happened is that the prices that the city was charging, the $25, is cost prohibitive. It was from 1993. So, and your ordinance has not been updated in that respect. So, while costs have risen in every other discipline, the cost to actually certify has risen, but the city was losing money in charging homeowners $25 when in fact the going rate is $100. So what I believe staff is asking is just to be competitive. And furthermore, that the city should not have the burden, but the homeowner has the burden, as you've already addressed last year, which was approved by this council.
But maybe, maybe we could get a contract with a few licensed plumbers because they're getting the volume. It's just a matter of going out there doing an inspection. Maybe they will give the city a volume discount rate, and we can do it for the citizens, or we can have the homeowners say, okay, call this one, and they'll do it for you for $75, or they'll do it for $100. But every contractor is a different price, and the citizens, the residents, are having to go out and shop now every year for this service.
Now, do we do we have a motion?
I did move
May I-
it.
Madam?
Who seconded?
Oh, I think.
Mr. Galvin seconded?
Thank you. No, I had questions. Man, I just want to echo what Councilwoman Keys said, similar to what we just did with the roof repairs, where we sort of narrowed it down to a select number of roof contractors who we do business with. I like the idea of doing that with the plumbing inspectors, whatever the correct phrase is, Mayor. I'm sorry, I get it wrong, Mayor Sullivan. But you get the idea, so that you're, instead of shopping from a list of 50, 100 different plumbing inspectors, that we instead have a narrowed down list of people who we've vetted for whatever the standards might be, and then maybe you're just shopping between 7 to 10 different, and getting a little bit lower price, because I echo what the councilwoman said. I think it could save a little bit of money for the homeowners and just make the shopping process a little easier.
And I have a question. What about if we do the certification and bill the customer after?
We will have to be competitive.
We hire a company to do all the certification, and then in the next water bill, and we charge the customer.
Through the mayor.
What about that?
Through the mayor, Councilman Bennett, I think the concern that staff has is that we don't have the staffing to facilitate that.
We're gonna have to hire somebody.
We just hire some company from the list of certified company that we have.
I would just have to ask our city engineer that question as to how that will work. That's beyond my expertise, and perhaps he can answer that question.
Right now, we have 2 certified backflow testers, and it is a very difficult task to stay on schedule with the inspections. I think for the city to do it, we would need more staff members and more equipment. We'd have to purchase software, and that would increase the cost. We'd have to increase the budget in order to take it on within Public Works.
I'm not asking the city to do it. Let's see, we have companies, certified companies. We send them to do the job, we pay them, and then charge the customer. Not
It-
add new stuff.
It sounds like you're
The same way
we're
we
being
hire
the
companies
middleman.
to do the
Where
roofing, right? We choose companies and we send them out to do the roofing. Then do the same thing with that.
I understand. I would just have to defer to the engineer the feasibility of doing that. I just can't answer that.
Like I said, it's not the
Yeah.
city that's going to do that. We just
Sure.
hire companies
What
to
you're
do so.
asking is that can we hire one company,
Not one. We have a list.
a list of companies
Yeah.
So-
to go out and do that?
You asking
I
to put
think
an
that-
RFP out there?
And I think at that
Mm.
time they're going to charge us less. If
I-
a customer going to call a company and they may charge them $100, but if we're going to give them 500 contracts, they may charge us $50.
I understand what you're saying. I would just have to defer to the city engineer the feasibility of doing that.
right now, I want to say that it is a feasible option. That's something that we'd have to research and visit the possibility of that working out.
If that's going to make the constituents happy, why don't we do that?
Can I
So
can
you
I
want
make
to
one
make
more comment?
Cost us.
Would you
Go
like
ahead.
to make a friendly amendment? Oh, Vice Mayor, you wanted to say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
If we delayed the process regarding to the state regulation,
How much
where
time
does
do we
take
have?
us?
The process
Mr.
been there
Wesley.
forever.
No, how much
Right.
time do we have to have the...
Well,
the
I mean, I
certification?
think what happens is that they have to be certified, and they're behind.
Until when? Before when? Before what day?
They
Yeah,
have to
very
cert,
late.
they
It
have,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They can do it next year.
No,
no, I'm not suggesting that, Madam Mayor. What I'm saying is that
There's a time
there's,
limit.
they have to be
Delay.
certified yearly, and the city just simply cannot keep up with the demand.
How behind are we on the
How
certification?
behind are we?
We are months behind, I'd say.
When you said much behind, 1
Months-
month, 1
months
week, 1
behind.
day?
He said months.
6 months?
Months behind.
Maybe not 6 months, but maybe 2 or 3 months behind.
What's the
May I ask-
amendment? What is the motion that was on the table?
May I
I
ask a
didn't hear it.
question to our staff, please?
We
How
don't
long
have
does
the
it,
motion yet.
excuse me, through the mayor, how long does it take to do one of these inspections?
It varies. It depends on the expertise. Some people, if you're
Your
backflow,
staff, you've been doing the inspection. You go to someone's house, they have an irrigation meter. What's the average time it takes to do one of these inspections?
depending on the condition of the backflow, sometimes it requires repair before you can inspect it. Sometimes it can be done in 15 minutes, half an hour. It can take 2 hours. It varies.
Okay, now, we've got approximately just under 500, I think it's 500, like is it 450 or 500 irrigation meters? If you charge the homes $100, that's $50,000. You're saying we don't have staff. $50,000 to charge, and I'm not even suggesting that that's what we charge, but $50,000 should more than amply pay additional staff to be able to just, you could have one staff person just go out and do the inspections, and then we would know it's being done. Already, we're charging our customers $20 just for transmitting data.
We do have staff doing it right now, and we can't keep up.
So you hire another staff because you're making 50, because you'll raise your fees. Right now, you're charging $25 a year.
See,
If
city
you charge
manager.
$100 a meter, that's $50,000. You should have
And,
enough money to hire staff to be able to, just full-time to do that, those inspections.
City manager, you
Go-
want to answer this?
Yeah, I just have to interject. Again, I'm not familiar with the process, but the city engineer brought up an issue that is concerning to me as to why we need to leave it like it is. If we go out and find a group of individuals and do an RFP process and try to say, here's the group, and we're going to, you can only charge this amount. What he's saying, that's not doable. You can't, it's impossible to do an RFP like that because you can't determine whether or not they need repair before you do the inspection. So it would be difficult for us to have the responsibility to go out and put together an RFP to say, you charge this amount if it's if there's no repairs and this much if it is a repair. It's too complex for us to put it together in RFP because of the unknown.
Are there
It's
one type
very-
of, let me ask you this, in the backflow, does it, usually it's one type of repair that is required, or all
No.
type of repairs are
It-
there?
it
So
is
nobody,
from-
you cannot predict what the
Absol-
inspector is going to find when they get to that person's house.
Absolutely. Whereas
Okay.
in the roofing program, we know up to what amount the a very extended roof should not exceed $15,000.
Okay.
It could be from 7 to 15, depending on what needs to be done. But in this situation, because it's a technical issue, it's too much of the unknown. Does the backflow need to be replaced? Does it need to
But
be
Mr.
repaired?
Mr. City Manager, it's the same thing as Comcast. You call
Yeah.
Comcast or you call a Ford company,
Sure.
right, to do an installation for you. When they come to the house, they find out things need to be repaired.
Sure.
They charge you
That's not an RFP.
for coming, and then they're gonna charge you for the repair. We have to understand, and we may have a big checks coming in, but the people, $100, $200 for, I think some people have 2 meters. It's a lot of money.
May I interject for a minute,
Go
Madam Mayor?
Mhm.
I think that I kind of agree with Councilman Bianame, except that Comcast is in the business of fixing and repairing phone lines and so on and so on. But what we asking the city to do, I'm trying to see exactly what it is, but it seems like it's an impossible task for the city to embark itself. It's like if my water bill is going too high, I come to the city and I complain. They told me that there is no issue regarding their line. I have to go check on my line to see, for lack of better words, to see that if there's a leak, I have to find a plumber to come inside my house. I can't come to the city and says that, please give me a list, or you have to find me a plumber to do it because I'm afraid they're going to charge me a lot of money. I'm afraid it's my responsibility to do it. So, and we know we have trouble with the water bill, but it's the same thing. If there is a inspection to be done, the city, we asked the city the last time to find a list of a professional to do so. The city bring us a list to be available for the constituent. So right now, they're asking us that we have to actually throw an RFP out. How could you throw an RFP or put an RFP out for something that you don't have? You only put RFP from the little understanding that I have about RFP. You have to know how much money do you have, how many clients, and all that have to be included in there. So if we're asking the city to do it themselves, $50,000 cannot hire a professional to do 500. It will cost the city. Remember, we're dealing with cities. If personally they charge me $100, they will charge the city probably $150 and $200. So that's how it operates. So I am just telling you guys, you're trying to create a precedent. Allow staff to do their job. Let's vote on these things and move on. It's only $100
There
a
was
year.
There was a
It's not
motion.
on-
There
That's
was a
what I
motion on
said.
the floor. We need to move on. Or
And,
else can you?
I have a question. Madam
You still
Chair.
have questions?
Yes,
You need to move
about
on,
that.
Mr. Bianemi. Go ahead.
Some
Fast.
people have more than one backflow device, right?
No.
No.
It's only one.
It's an
We went through
irrigation.
that last week.
It's an irrigation.
It's only one.
There's
Yes,
only one.
even if
Even
you have
you-
2 meters, it's one.
It's on. You sure it's one?
Let me say this, Councilman. Most residential units in the city does not have a second meter.
Right.
Okay.
But
I understand that part.
If you have a second
But the
meter, is it
backflow
two?
is only.
The backflow is only for second meters.
Oh, it's not for everybody in the
Irrigation.
city.
Irrigation, no.
No.
It's only for
Okay.
irrigation.
Oh, it's only for the
And
490
most residents
we
do not have
about
irrigation.
Contamination.
for the backflow
Yes.
device. Okay. But it's easy. Why don't we hire companies to do it and we charge them?
Mr. Bianemi, we just
That's
went
easy
through
for
that. It's
them.
going to cost the city too much
We're
money.
not gonna
They
hire
are
people.
behind. They are behind already on the inspection for the backflow. From what I can understand, what staff have said, we would have to put an IRFP out there, wait for bid, without having an exact amount of
It's not
how
big
much
enough.
money are we willing to put out, because we don't know what type of problems we're going to find. Do I get it right?
The analogy is, you want
Doctor-
us to do an RFP to fix a car engine, and we can't do that because we don't know what
No.
the problem is going to be
I'm
in the
talking about
engine.
Certification, inspection.
We did that.
That's what it is.
We did that.
You
We
did-
provided a list of individuals who are certified to do this particular work. So we've done that.
From that list, what don't we
That
have?
list is not, the list is not complete.
Personal
build
things
them.
on your property.
But you used to do that before, right?
Count,
We used to do that.
No.
Madam
That's,
Mayor?
we never
The city used
certify.
to
our
do
ba-
it, yes.
Exactly, we used to do that. It costs you too much money. Okay, why don't we do it and charge the customer,
Because we don't have the staff.
not hiring staff? We're talking about hiring companies.
Ms. Council,
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I may address that
Uh-huh.
issue?
Yes, sir, Madam
When
Attorney.
you're discussing whether you should hire or can hire a company, then that's automatic a procurement process. So then you have to determine whether there's an RFP or an RFQ and so on and so forth. And because this is so specialized and unique, it's really hard to say it's not like buying 10 widgets. You know, it's very complex and complicated and unique to each individual backflow prevention certification process. And so I don't know that an RFP is appropriate for that sort of recertification, is what I believe the message is.
May I
Another
ask
And
a
you
question
can't
question?
do it without having an RFP process.
May I ask a question? Okay, you made a statement that the reason we no longer want to do these inspections, it's cost prohibitive to the city at $25. So if we charge $100, it should no longer be cost prohibitive, and the city can still
Don't
do
have
that.
staff.
Is the city
Well-
willing to do that?
I think it was both cost prohibitive as well as staffing issues.
But we're going to, if we raise an extra $75 per inspection, that should pay for it, and it will no longer be cost
Councilwoman,
prohibitive.
if
and
the
you can-
city provides the list of certified
The list
workers
right
that
now
can
is
do it.
incomplete.
Well-
And the list goes between 100 and 175.
Let's say if the city does the same thing and they charge the city $100 without knowing what they're gonna find once they get to that person,
If there's
resident.
If there's repair,
it's-
our resolution states that the resident or the owner of the
What-
backflow has to pay for repair. But in most instances, it's a 15-minute inspection.
Okay, what preclude a resident to pick up the phone and call a plumber and shop around? What seems to be the issue here? I'm not getting it, because usually when
Nothing
we have
precludes them. It
plumbing
is-
problem, we call a plumber, and we call 2 plumbers, we call 10 plumbers, and we get
Because it
estimate,
is-
and we know how much it's going to
This
cost
is what
us.
we
In
discussed
that
last-
particular instance,
That's what we
what
discussed.
prevent the resident from picking up the phone, go to the city list, and shop around? What seems to be the problem? I'm not getting it. Where is the blockage?
It's a burden on some people.
To pick up the phone and call?
For some people, yes, and to do this every year and to shop, it's a burden. There's a
Uh,
lot of people living in this city that really do not need that burden to start shopping and getting letters and saying, oh, you have to go out and get this inspected. And there's people who do not want to do that, or are
Sylvia,
not capable.
May we have a roll call, please?
I need a motion in
I've
a
some-
second, Mayor.
I've some-
I
Vice
d-
Mayor?
I have a question, I
had
have
made a
some
motion.
question.
Vice Mayor had a question, a
And
motion.
then you second it, Mayor?
I'd like to
I'll
make a
second it.
motion that we continue this till the city can do a little more research.
There
Well,
was
I
a
agree.
motion already on the floor by the Vice Mayor.
And then seconded by the mayor.
No, what is your motion?
The motion is to move the item.
To move the
To
item.
what?
To move the item I make a motion to move the item as it is.
Okay.
Mayor, roll call?
And I second it, yes.
Okay, Mayor Dundo,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Steril,
Yes.
Councilman Galvin,
No.
Councilwoman Keys,
No.
Councilman Bieneme,
No.
Measure Fells, 3-2.
Item W.
Madam Mayor, may
Mr.
we ask staff to go back and come up with some other alternatives? It sounded like a majority of the council was interested in some sort of narrowed contracting RFP kind of scenario. can we look at those and come back? I know we have to address this
Sure.
situation somehow.
What if it serves the council, what I would do is meet with staff. I would get with our procurement. We will invite those vendors together to find out the feasibility of how to put together an RFP if it can be done. We would try to get this done by August the 25th. And the reason why we need to call those individuals who are certified to do backflow devices, we did the same thing with the roofers. We called all the roofers together. We asked them and got input. Some of the things we thought of, they thought of, we didn't think of, vice versa. We would get a report and come back to this council on August the 25th to provide you with an update.
Thank you. Can we move to item W, Mr. Clerk?
Absolutely, Mayor. Ordinance W, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending chapter 13 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Offenses, specifically at article Roman numeral 4 entitled Dangerous Intersection Safety to reflect recent legislative changes to the Mark Wandel Traffic Safety Program Act as provided by chapter 2013-160 laws of Florida, and authorizing local hearings for notices of violations connected with the use of red light cameras as traffic infraction detectors, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, codification, reservation of rights, and an effective date.
Public hearing is now open on item W.
As I understand the new legislation, the legislators passed a piece of legislation that prohibits, that makes it mandatory for you to stop before you make a turn on red. If you recall, there was a whole thing about not giving red light camera tickets to people who don't stop or don't apply the ordinance properly, and or make a hazard, make their car a hazard. In other words, somebody's crossing the street and they don't stop, or they whip around the corner and make a right turn. The red light cameras would not be enforced. So now I am gathering that we have to reflect our ordinance to conform to the state law. The state law now says you have to stop. You can't proceed with caution. You have to stop when making a right turn on red. That went into effect, I believe, July 1st of this year. So obviously we have to have our city ordinances reflect the law as it pertains to red light cameras and everything else that has to do with traffic safety. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
It's on. It's on.
Okay. Rosalind Philippe, 12205 Northeast Miami Court. Just to say that with this new law, I don't think we're hearing everything about it. Again, I said it last meeting, we are talking about the red light, but there is much more than that. When I made the mention to Mr. Book when he was there, he agreed with me, but he said that he was only answering the particular question as it relates to that. There is a lot more which is going to cause the resident to pay more if they choose to, what's the correct word, contest that particular ticket, because now, because we are hiring someone and it will be heard by whoever that the city hires, they can be charged up to $250. So please think about it. Yes, I heard it, so I'm not making it up. As it's going late, I'll take my opportunity now and just say, no, going late in terms of my time, because I got to go home. When you think about putting items, please understand that residents do like to speak about things, so that's why when we look at the agenda and we come to the meeting, and that's our opportunity. And another thing, as you move with the charter school, think slowly and think carefully, because I can tell you a whole lot of stories about charter school, as it's, you know, education is my field. All right.
Public forum is still open. Public forum is now closed in the item. Do I hear a motion on this?
I'll make a motion to pass W.
Anyone wishes to second?
I second it for discussion.
Thank you.
Madam City Attorney, can you clarify? I think you were about to.
Before you ask the Madam City Attorney, I have asked the City Attorney last week to put it in simple words so that everybody can understand it. And I'm not seeing this. Go ahead. It was just a boutade. Go ahead, Madam
Well,
Vice
it's
Mayor.
not the words that I don't understand. It's the different opinion that I'm hearing about it. So I would like to hear it from the City Attorney.
Okay, so just to recap, the Florida legislature met this spring, and because of the many issues that this red light camera law has gone through over the past few years, they decided that they were going to make a couple of changes. The first change is this: if you are approaching a red light before the new law, the old law, if you turned right on red in a careful and prudent manner, then you would not receive a ticket. The problem with that is there was confusion as to what does careful and prudent mean. And you had to stop prior to the white bar. If you stopped on the white bar, if you stopped after the white bar, you would get a ticket. The law changed. It says that you can stop anywhere as you're approaching a right turn. You can stop on the white bar, you can stop before the white bar, you can stop after the white bar. As long as you stop, you will not get a ticket. And it still does have to be careful and prudent. However, as long as you stop, that's the change. That's the first change. The second change is the old law said once you received a violation, you either had two options. You either pay $158. If you didn't pay, then you're going to get a uniform traffic citation. What does that mean? That means that you have to go now to downtown, and once you go downtown, you would have to pay $258 if you were found guilty. You would not receive any points on your license. However, it may go to the Department of Insurance, and your insurance may go up. That was the old law. The law changed. What does the new law say? It says this. And you had 30 days to do so. It says this: once you get a ticket and you decide you want to contest a ticket, the first change was you now have 60 days, not 30 days. The second change is you do not have to go downtown. You go to your city, whatever city this is. If it was North Miami, if it was North Miami Beach, Aventura, you go to the city, and your case will be heard before a special magistrate. The fine is $158 instead of the $258 as previous, and you have an opportunity to plead your case in your city before the local hearing officer. Also, the city now has more discretion to determine what type of tickets that they want the city the city to enforce. For example, you can direct staff to say, for right turns, we want to make sure that we're not giving tickets for people who may not stop but is going 2 miles an hour, or whatever it is. You can direct whatever you feel is appropriate to direct staff to do. So that is the law, essentially. Those are the important changes. There are some other changes, but Oh, okay, and also the court costs. Prior to the old law, you had mandatory court costs. With the new law, it's because it's in the local government, the court costs is discretionary up to a certain amount, up to $250. But again, that's discretionary. That can be established by the council.
Okay. My question, Madam City Attorney. The state law says to stop, and the city law can say you can actually move.
No.
If you,
I'm just saying that in terms of how you wish to enforce it, the state law does require you to stop, but you don't have to give a ticket. Just like a police, let's say a police officer sees someone stopping or failing to stop. The police officer does not necessarily have to give that person a ticket if the person violates the law. You understand? So the city can show some leniency for people who slow down and not stop, even if they do get a ticket. Well, you see on the camera, yeah, okay, you didn't stop, but we understand that there were no pedestrians in the walkway. It was a safe turn. So the special magistrate has the discretion to then say, okay, either I dismiss it or we're going to lower the fine, or in accordance with the policy set forth by the council.
okay. What about those I don't think that's in the city of North Miami, 119th Street, North Miami Avenue, turning right.
No,
that's not in the city.
No, that is different too. On Dixie Highway, on West 43rd, there is the same thing. You are not allowed, period, to make a right turn. They said no turn on red.
Now, yeah, so that's different. That's different.
So are we going to change that, or just going to leave it as is?
No, that has nothing to do. If you're not allowed to make a right turn, you're not allowed to make a right turn on red, period.
That was not a state law, though. That's a city decision to do so. I'm just asking.
I think it's a traffic law.
That's a traffic law.
That's state law.
Yeah,
that's the state. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's
traffic
the state.
law governed by
the state.
The
Yeah.
state. Okay. Don't get so defensive.
It's fine.
Okay.
Vice Mayor.
I think I'm done for now.
Any more questions? I think last week we went through it lengthily, and this week we need to vote on it. Anybody who has questions, let's make it quick and move it on. The state law, would you mind repeating what we have versus what the state law says, so everybody has a clear understanding?
We're good.
I'm just asking. I just want to make sure that everybody understands. You do understand, Councilman Bien-Aimé? Councilwoman Keys? Councilman Galvin? Okay, you made a motion?
Yes.
And I second it? City Clerk?
Well, I'm sorry, I had Keys' motion, Staley second. That's fine.
However you like, Mr. Clerk. It's your night, Mr. Clerk. However you like it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's do Vice Mayor Steril,
Yes, sir.
Councilwoman Keys,
Yes.
Councilman Bien-Aimé,
Yes.
Mayor Thundro,
Yes.
and Councilman Galvin.
No.
Measure passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Okay.
Tab X.
So now we're at X. Establish proposed budget hearing dates of Wednesday, September 11, 2013, and Wednesday, September 25th, 2013, and tentative millage rate for FY 2013-2014.
Move the motion.
Second.
I have 2 seconds for your information, Mr. Clerk.
I heard one.
2.
Public forum opens on tab
yeah,
X.
but-
Do we? Public forum is open. Public forum is now closed. You wish to speak, sir? On tab X?
We don't. He was sleeping.
We are on tab X right now. It's okay. Mr. Clerk?
Councilman Galvin?
No.
I didn't even hear a motion on tab X.
We had 2 motions.
Actually, we even have a motion in 2
You
seconds.
was one of
You
the motions.
second it, and I second it.
Which,
We didn't
oh,
have
the
any-
dates of, I'm sorry.
You need to get on Facebook,
No.
Mr. Galvin,
We're now
and then
just
concentrate on
prepping-
what
yeah,
we're
okay.
doing.
Sorry, I wasn't sure.
No, that's
I
fine.
apologize.
Councilman Galvin?
Yes.
Mayor Thundro?
Yes.
Councilman Bieneme,
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys,
Do we have a time for that?
6 p.m. is normal.
Okay.
I'm just saying, historically, our budget meetings have started at 6 p.m.
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Sterling.
What time is it? 6? Okay, yes.
Measure passes 5-0.
Tab the Y.
Tab Y, Biscayne Landing's allocation of funds approved by the prior council.
By the way, somebody turned the air conditioning off up here. Can we turn it back on or something? I'm sorry. I'm now burning up.
We are distributing a document to better assist council in the discussion of tab Y.
Public forum is open on tab Y. It's a discussion. On your discussion. Councilwoman Keys brought this particular item.
I did, I asked, I'm bringing this up for discussion with our council, except that, okay. We received approximately $17.5 million, but in addition to $17.5 million, there was also additional funds received from Biscayne Landing. And I had requested a complete list, and I'm just getting this right now. I asked for a complete list of how much gross we received, what has been spent to date, what has been allocated.
Sure.
And we discussed this, I discussed this with the manager and asked if any of the money that had been allocated and not spent could be suspended or revisited to make sure we do want to spend all this money. I felt we did spend a lot of money. I just got a different list, a little bit different. It shows 17 and a half. I believe we got
20
23.
20 million, but I do have the allocation.
Hold on,
for that.
Mr. City Manager, Madam Mayor. I think I heard the last sentence, the reason you bring it up to find out if there is any, the reminder of the money to suspend it from spending until we revisit it. I second that motion.
Well, thank you. I didn't make a motion, but
It's not a motion.
it's not a
Whatever
motion,
that
but
it is, I second
I
it.
will. Okay. But what I had wanted was a report, again, of how much we actually received. I know some of it was paid out for taxes. A lot was allocated. Some of the items were actually spent, some were not. And I'm concerned with some of the items. We allocated a lot, and I want to make sure that the money is being spent properly. We've got a library that we allocated $1 million, and I know we are supposed to be looking for a grant of $500,000. So there might be another $500,000 that can be set aside in reserves. And even if we get a matching grant of $500,000, maybe we should allocate a little bit more for not just the building, but for books and resources of that. We've given, I'm a big supporter of PAL, but we just blanketly gave $1 million to PAL for a building. We were presented with a page of about 5 line items. This is what it costs for a building. Before we just give $1 million to a not-for-profit, which is not a city corporation or entity, I would like a better proposal as to what really is required to build this building. And I'd like to make sure that PAL, I don't really want to just write a check to PAL. I want to make sure that the money is being spent properly and RFPs are done properly. We have City Hall renovation, $600,000. And I know some of this is on the website, but I would like to be able to revisit exactly what it is we're spending. The North Bay Shore Park, I don't know if we have a allocation. It's important. But again, there's grant money available for that. San Souci Alley Wall, $250. I don't know if we proceeded. I know that's, I believe that's important. That is going to be one of the projects that we spend $250,000 and we'll be taking mortgages back from the individual homeowners for their property. Additional sidewalks. We spent $200,000 on sidewalks and an additional $50,000. I know the sidewalks in the city are still getting, I mean, I was astounded. I don't know how much we spent for a big sign that we're doing this sidewalk improvements. The sign was up for about a month, and there are still sidewalks in disrepair in my neighborhoods, and then I'm walking and people are complaining. So I think that some of the money I want that for the infrastructure. I'm not happy about spending $20,000 on a charter school exploration, but it's spent, even though it says 15. And the employee benefits, I'd like a breakdown of exactly what those benefits are. We just got it. So
You're not
Councilwoman-
asking us to vote on anything tonight, right?
I'm not
Because
really, and the
It's-
other thing is,
Yeah.
I really didn't get this information until 5 minutes ago, but I'm bringing it up to council to see if you'd like to explore it, if you want to stop spending the money that's allocated until maybe we want to reallocate, maybe we want to take some of it back, maybe we want to have a little further discussion, and that's the only reason I brought it, because we have 3 new council members on the dais, and we still have the money, we haven't spent it, and I think I would like to revisit it. I had previously asked for a budget and proposed budget. We haven't done our budget yet, and I'd like to see where we are for this year. I know our tax revenue, our tax basis went up barely 1%, which is the first time in years that we've even seen an increase. So I'd like to hold off spending any money. Let's see where our budget is, and before we just spend. I'd like a little more information on some of the items we're spending.
Okay.
So I would make a motion that we, I don't know if it's the right thing, is to
Yeah.
suspend everything, but
But here's my concern.
Okay.
For instance, there are a couple of small ticket items, to me, small ticket, I'm not talking about $1 million for this or that. For instance, the 142nd Street alleyway wall, $33,000. We had neighborhood meetings and fought like heck to get that done and set aside, and I know it's progressing slowly, but surely I would hate to freeze that now while we wait for the September budget hearings.
I don't think that's what she said. I think she
it-
said the
it-
rest of the
not-
money.
that's
the
what-
ones that have not been used, that has
Like
not
the
started
2
yet.
something
But there are
$1 million.
certain things-
That's
There are
what-
certain items that I really don't want to suspend, which is why we all need to, I think, address them specifically. I know we've got $1 million for the 7th Avenue facade program. I think that's good. I'm not looking to suspend that. We have certain items. We had 25,000 for a, now we're up to 25,000 for charter school exploration. It went from 15 to 20 to now we're up to 25,000.
That's not what we
I'd like a report for
We haven't spent
$25,000.
We haven't spent 20.
And I don't ever recall giving staff the direction to take that money from Biscayne Landing.
Yes,
I
I
just
can,
like to readdress the.
Sure.
I think we
May-
need a discussion.
Madam Mayor, if I can address this? Okay. Let me just start with the charter school. The charter school exploration, what was passed was for us to do a consulting and application. The application is 5,000, not the consultant. So that's what the total amount was. And that was the total amount spent. If I can start with the police vehicles, that money has already been spent. The library is a recertification program, and it's $1 million for renovation and
So we were
upgrades.
getting $500,000
I-
grant we're working on.
Madam Mayor, may I interject for a minute, if you allowed me? I would, you're sleepy. I would like to give direction to staff to, because I don't think it is fair for the constituent, for none of us up here. I understand the councilwoman concern about the money that was allocated for the Biscayne Landing, to either sit down with staff, because if we're gonna go through the each line item to find out how much did you already spend, how much is left, and what can we do with it. I would rather sit down with staff and find out exactly what's left, what's going on, what I would like to do, and then come back before council and to take care of it.
Are you
Because
making it as a friendly amendment to?
No, I'm just
But-
giving I'm just giving a recommendation to, if all of us are so interested, to go back to sit down with staff, since we just find this right up here, and I'm sure Councilman Bien-Aimé probably have questions about what do we do with $200,000. I would like to get an idea what you
And I
do,
don't
how
think-
much is left.
Yeah.
So all of us, take the time, sit down with the city manager or with staff, and find out exactly what's going on, and then you can bring it back.
Right, because it's not fair to decide such a thing.
Because-
$15 million in 7 minutes,
We're gonna
or whatever,
yeah.
10 minutes.
So
I
That
don't
was
know,
my
but
intention.
it's.
It's just whether this council wants to readdress some of the expenditures and see if we can put a little bit of the brakes on. some of
No,
these
Councilwoman, what's gonna happen is, once we start, like you said, the $25,000, which is a small item, or the $30,000 that Councilman Sky Galvin referring to, when we said what happened to the $20,000, the city manager is gonna have to call staff to start giving us an answer. No, I already spent $10,000. We only have $20,000 left. What happened to $1 million? That no, I already start doing this. Including PAL as well. So what I'm asking, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think that all of us deserve the same right to go sit down with them to kind of revisit it in a personal manner, and then we can bring it back if that's what you wish to do. Which I am kind of comfortable with most of them because I voted on them, so I don't have a problem. But I respect your wish. Anybody else who would like to do so, but I would prefer that you guys do it at your own time and bring it back if that's what you want to do. But
Makes
right now,
sense to me.
discussing $15 million at 11:30, I don't
At
think
night,
it's
it does not make sense,
So-
and it's not fair
that
either.
would be mine.
I have a question for the Madam Chair, for the city manager. We allocated about 200,000 for sidewalk, right?
Correct.
And how much of that money have been spent?
Mr. Bien-Aimé,
Hmm?
we just heard both councilwomen talking about putting this aside and sit down with staff and understanding, having a good understanding
Is
and
that a
ask all the
motion?
questions that are.
Is that a motion?
'Cause
Oh, I
it's
can
not-
put it on the motion.
Put it on the motion, because
I-
it's not fair at 11:30 at night for us to discuss $15 million.
We're
and
not
it's
discussing
imperative.
$15 million.
Well,
We're
you're
discussing-
questioning such and such money, and I think at
all
11:30 at
motions.
night, why don't you just make a motion, Vice Mayor or Council Woman Keys? Somebody has to make a motion. It's not proper.
You
It's
know you
not
can
right.
make a motion.
And we just got here. We are not here to question anything right now until we get familiarized with them. And I would rather table this thing for another meeting until
I'll
we can
make-
sit down with staff
I'll
or
make-
city manager to have a better understanding and
I'll
bring it
make
back.
May I? Yes, Madam.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I have a
ma'am.
question for the city manager.
What is your question, Mr. Bien-Aimé?
I have a question. Can I address my question?
Go ahead with your question, but there is a motion on the floor.
What it is? What is your,
You want
have
to reformulate your question, Madam Vice Mayor?
your motions?
Your motion, I'm
You have a
sorry.
motion?
Are you guys pressuring me? Is that what it is?
No, we're not.
No.
We have all night.
I'm
The
feeling
chair-
We have
being
all
pressured
night,
by
Vice
two
Mayor.
of you. What's
We
going
have
on?
all night, Vice
Madam
Mayor.
Chair
Okay.
said you have a motion.
Mine motion, I think I'm being extremely nice. I think that all of us has question. I think I might have question as well.
So do I.
So can we, since Councilwoman Carroll says that she asked for, they just give this to us, can we take some time off and go back to the city manager and ask all our questions and see what's going on and what's not going, instead of discussing $15 million here? Then we come back with the same item, or if we're not satisfied with his answer, then we'll take care of it as conduct business as usual. But tonight, if you have question with $200 million, I probably have question with PAL, which is $1 million, the police vehicle for $1 million.
I understand,
and blah,
Vice
blah,
Mayor,
blah.
but you vote for those. I wasn't there. I
Well,
have
since
some
you questioned it, I
questions.
might question as well. But I'm not fighting you, Mr. So that was my motion, and I'm fine.
So you made your motion?
I make my motion to.
I
move
second
forward,
it.
But I'm not fighting.
Let's open.
That's what you like to do? I'll support it as well. Cool.
It's not fair.
Did you move to continue this item Y to the next council meeting, or? Okay.
In order for us
Yes,
to have
let's-
time to sit down with staff
Motion
and city
to-
manager before we can,
Is there a motion to table?
If I might ask that, ask staff through the mayor to, this is, I spoke to Mr. Sori this morning. I still would like to see the total amount that we received from Biscayne Landing to date and where it's gone. Because we did receive more than the 17 million. I'd like to see where the additional.
Back rent that they owed us.
I can explain that if
No,
if
not
that's-
now, no.
No, we don't need
Next-
to do
Get out of here.
it. I'm trying to get
I'll
a report.
provide.
And my purpose for this was
We'll provide.
really
You
for
need to sit down
discussion,
with them and
just so we can
everything.
readdress
We'll
this
provide.
and maybe tweak it a little.
We'll provide.
we have
I'm fine
plenty
with
of
that.
questions.
Sure.
So please be prepared.
So I'd like a little,
Just
thank
that
you
I'm
for this.
saying Don't do it on the dice.
I'd like a little more complete. I'd like a part of the package so that the public, and we didn't open this for public discussion, but I would like
Gonna
this to be
vote.
part of the package so the public can look at it, also know what we're discussing.
Good. Councilwoman, can we go,
On the next agenda, yes.
Mr. Clerk, do we have a roll call?
Yes, Mayor. So we have a motion to table until next council meeting. Mayor Dundro.
Continue. Yes.
Councilwoman Keys.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Steril.
Yes.
Councilman Galvin.
Yes.
And Councilman Bieneme.
No.
Item passes 4-1. Item has been tabled to the next council meeting. Motion to table.
Tab Z, City Clerk.
Yes, ma'am.
What is it? What is that?
To designate a
Oh,
delegate
that.
to represent the
Oh.
city at the annual conference of the Florida League of Cities.
Madam Mayor, I am the current board member for the Miami-Dade League of Cities. I'm asking the council to support me to represent the city as the board member for the Miami-Dade League of Cities.
I'd move the continuance of Vice Mayor Steril as our appointee.
Can I second it?
You cannot second your own.
Yes, I can. Why not?
I make so.
I'll second it. Mr. Manager, this was on the agenda so that we can vote on it, isn't it? We can vote as participant in the League of Cities, that's correct?
Participation and
As a-
to select a delegate to represent the city.
We don't need to vote to participate in League of Cities. We
It's
have
not
that
to
right.
For
participate.
us
We
to
don't
be a
just-
voting member.
A
in the League
delegate.
of Cities,
It's
Oh,
for
yeah,
the
right.
right delegate.
Yeah. I thought you were delegate. All right, do we?
That answer?
Yeah, I mean, there's an annual, there's a particular conference that they're requesting to have a representative from the city to be there and vote on behalf of the city.
And I motion that
It was
Vice
moved
Mayor
and second.
Steril-
Roll call, City Clerk.
Vice Mayor Steril.
About what?
This is a roll call to appoint or to continue Councilwoman Vice Mayor Steril as the delegate to the city
Delegate for the
Okay.
League of
for the
Cities.
League of Cities. Vice Mayor Steril,
Yes.
Councilman Galvin,
Yes.
Vote on it? What is this?
Councilman Bieneme,
Yes.
Councilwoman Keys,
Yes.
and Mayor Dundro.
Yes,
Item passes 5-0.
thank you. Citizen Forum is now open. It is
Z.
11:40. Anybody
No.
who wishes to
I think
speak
you
on
have
anything,
another
we're done. No, nothing more.
No, Z, city clerk. Oh, that's
We
a
just
report.
did-
That's a report.
Yes. We have any reports?
Citizens Forum and then report.
Yes, good evening, everyone. William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. First, I wanted to thank and commend all of you for your passion tonight. First off, on the issue of the schools, I just wanted to bring to light that Biscayne Landing, if it goes to full fruition with its 4,000-plus units, will likely have at least 10,000 occupants. And of those 10,000, there will probably be 2,000, possibly 4,000 students. And so therefore, having a school in consideration of that plan is would be very prudent. In addition to that, not just the possibility of a regular school for what will probably be an average population, but it probably would be recommendable to have a charter school as well. So I would it would be wonderful if we could champion both a regular school addition, possibly a middle school, plus a charter school. Schools are never really a problem for the community, and almost always a positive attribute. Next, I wanted to thank all of you for tabling the Biscayne Landing matter, that it is so very important, so critical to get right and be on the right path, and it's very much appreciated that you also understand and appreciate that and look to resolve those various issues and get it on the right path. There are some possibilities that still could be explored and some difficulties that could be overcome if we give it the right attention. So thank you all for staying this evening. Appreciate your consideration.
Elder Zachary Desjardins, 175 Northwest 128th Street. City Council, on behalf of Florida Department of Children and Family, share your heart. It is a privilege for me to extend this invitation as follows. To all pastors, church, and community leaders, the Department of Children and Family and Share Your Heart cordially invite you to the DCF Southern Region Chaplaincy Program Inauguration Dinner with David Wilkins, Secretary, Department of Children and Family, the next Thursday coming. That will be July 18th, 2013 at 6 p.m. The venue would be La Catedral del Pueblo Church, and the address is as follows: 190 Northwest 79th Avenue, Miami, Florida 33126. This is a special invitation to all the City Council. We expect about more than 400 leaders coming from the government from the down south side. So we invite you all to be a part of this great event. We're going to have from the Southeastern Conference, the 5th District, all the honor guards, color guards, and drum corps. They will be coming down there to elevate this great event. We ask you please to come to participate. We will be honored by your presence. And once again, the address is 190 Northwest 79th Avenue, Miami, Florida 33126. How to get there? You just take the Palmetto, and you will be exit
I
at
think
the
your time
flag.
is up first. Thank you. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Citizen Forum is still open. Anyone else who wishes to speak? Yes. Yeah.
Esther Blinn, 1990 Northeast 118th Road. On behalf of myself and my family, I wanted to thank all of you, particularly Vice Mayor Sterrell, Mayor Tondreau, and Councilman Galvin for the surprise reception for Councilman Blinn, who was truly surprised. Anyone who saw him walk in knew that he was definitely surprised by his honor. He treasures the city, and he treasures the key to the city and the various awards he received. He really appreciates. I'd like to also announce in his absence that the South Florida Regional Planning Council gave a bequest. I'm not quite sure how much it was. They asked him for his favorite charity for his service on the Regional Planning Council. They gave a bequest to the Senior Citizens Foundation, which was the charity he selected to get the money. I'm not sure it's a lot, but it's more than what we have. Thank you all very much. Those of you former council, former mayors who attended, as well as the city staff. It was a wonderful event, and he appreciates it very much, and so does the family. Thank you.
It was our pleasure to be there as well. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening again, Annie Montgomery, 2082 Laurel Lane. I think there was some confusion on this board about the $1 million for the roofs. That $1 million was not from the CDBG fund. That was from Biscayne Landing money. That was set aside for roofs. It was Mr. Marcellus made the motion, and the previous council approved it. Had nothing to do with the grant money. That's why my question was, where were the people that were selected, where they're coming from, and when were they notified that there was $1 million? That question was not really clearly answered. I want to address the consent agenda. Get a definition of consent. Please, look up the definition for consent. If everybody consents, whatever is written there, that's consent. But if people do not agree with what is each item, then it should no longer be on the consent agenda. Consent means everybody agrees. Thank you.
Public forum is still open. Public forum is now closed. Council reports. Do you do that? We start with Councilwoman Keys. You any report?
I just have a request for staff. We're going to be on a hiatus till August 25th, 26th, and I know we'll be working on the budget, and I will be available to work with staff. We have brought up in the past the inequities of the second water meters. For those 450 homes that have second water meters, they're paying a very high base rate. They're also paying 3 times the amount for water than the residential houses are. And I think I would, besides for the little report that was given before, I think we need to readdress this. I know we couldn't have addressed it because that money was budgeted, but before we finish with our budget, I'd like to address what kind of discount or relief we can get on that base fee for the second meters. I think we talked about we could get a reduction. One of the reasons we couldn't right now is because it was not written into the budget. Additionally, I think it would be fair for the users of the water not to be paying $3.18 when the rest of the homeowners are paying $1.17 for the first 5,000 gallons. And now with this additional fee we're looking for the backflow, it's really a burden, and I'd like to readdress it maybe in the next few weeks, some kind of study, so we can work that into the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Galvin?
No reports tonight.
Councilman Bien-Aimé? No. Vice Mayor Steril?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Question for the city manager. If I have a second meter and it's a problem for me, can I actually remove it and only have 1 meter like the rest of the city? Or once you have it, you just die with it?
It can be removed.
It can be removed if it's a problem.
Correct.
Okay, no, I just wanted to put it, I just wanted to know because it seemed like it's a problem for those who actually have it. I just wanted to make sure that it was not something that the city actually pressured, and once you impose on the constituent, and once they have it, if they don't want it or if it's costing them more money, then they're not allowed to remove it. That's all. Mine, I just want to thank staff through the city manager for help the West Side Neighborhood Association for putting a nice cookout. It was very well attended. I beat Councilman Phillip with the domino. So
I did too.
You did too?
We all did.
We beat you on dominoes. When 4th of July. But anyways, thank you so much. We will be in recess for a whole month, and I hope that you take good care of my constituent, which I will be around, hopefully. But however, there are a couple of things that will be taking place. I'm not sure. I think it's during the recess that I will be going to the League of Cities, and I will be stay in contact with our sister city in Delma. I'm not sure what they're doing this year, but if there's anything that they're doing, I know they sent us a letter, but I have not in contacting with them to see exactly what they want to do. So having saying all that, Madam Mayor, I hope that you have a wonderful whole month of rest from your election, and so are you, Madam Keys and Councilman Bien-Aimé. I'm sure that you guys will make the best use of the whole month that you have to be with your family. And don't call me if I don't call you, please. So good night, everyone. Councilman Scott Garvin, we don't need the rest, so we'll be around.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I would like to congratulate staff and thank FIU as well for the 4th of July event. Fireworks was wonderful. I would like to see next year that we have much more vendors than what we had, and as well to see a whole show, as I said on my speech, to have student body from the city of North Miami being involved in the entertaining part. And it has to reflect also the diversity that we have in this city as of several ethnicity, multicultural, multi-language people. And I would like also for the city to advertise people who would like to speak on public hearing, whether they speak Creole or Spanish. They must feel free to do so, because we do have translators in-house during the council meeting, so that all the residents can go ahead and participate and express themselves as their wishes. It's vacation time. This is the first time I start a job, and a month later I'm going to vacation for 6 weeks. We have 6-week vacation.
Is it 4 weeks, 6 weeks?
It's 6 weeks
What
vacation,
I'm
which is
ready to
wonderful.
take it.
But I'm gonna be around. I'm gonna take this time to learn more about what's going on in the city regarding the different aspects of the city, and I'm going to take this time also to familiarize myself with the departments that we have in this city. The good thing is I've been a resident of this city long enough to be part of the process. And anybody who wishes to speak or have any concern regarding the service they are getting in different departments, they need to do so in writing, and we're taking those type of concern and complaint. So I'm going to be learning, I'm going to enjoy myself in my city, and I'm wishing all of you a wonderful vacation. City clerk report.
Okay, we have probably 2-3 important matters. The first one is regarding our boards. Now, I'm going to recommend that we postpone this to next council meeting. I do have several names, but I don't have all the names, and there's a discrepancy regarding our Board of Adjustment. So I'm going to appoint one of the staff members in my office to spearhead this, and they'll be in contact with all the council members and the mayor and council. You guys can produce the names like some of you have. We're going to make sure we get applications for everyone, and we'll be ready to go. Because, for example, it's still showing that that Lucius is on a particular board appointed by Andre Pierre. All that should have already been updated. I've been out of town for about a week and a half, so I'm.
We did send resignation letters after my election, so I'm
right.
not
We don't.
understanding
Yeah, exactly.
why your
Nothing's
department
been-
have not updated this thing.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to get Sarah or Joshua from my office to take care of this, and then we're going to make sure when we come before you, everything will be updated and we'll be good to go. But I do have most of the names from 2-3 council members, and I'm going to recommend that we'll take this up the next council meeting.
Madam Mayor, if you allow me, Mr. Clerk, I would like to reinstate all my.
I don't have those names now. That's what I just explained that. I don't
No.
have the names. I don't have the applications. I don't have that information in front of me. That's what I'm saying. I don't have the
Okay,
information
I'm
in front of me. Okay, thank you.
May I ask a question? You've given us a large list. Several of those boards are not in existence, and I'd like a little clarification maybe next time on the agenda, because I don't believe we have a charter board sitting for like another 7 years. There's one board that expired, everybody expired in 2010. So are we going to start with that board again? The Personnel Board is there, we've done away with the Personnel Board, so it's a little confusing what
Now-
you really want us to do.
Right.
We don't have a Personnel Bill. We did it, do we? Are you on that?
And there are several boards that needs to be revamped as well.
Right, let me just clarify.
Can we have a
something for
list?
the new-
Last meeting, we asked for a list to be given to us of
Right.
the boards and the vacancies in order for us to go to our constituents and appoint those that have our vision.
Right, but that list haven't been updated. By the way, let me just clarify something for the new council members. I'm not in charge of the boards. Every board has a liaison, right? And that liaison answers side of the city manager, the deputy manager. I don't know how that works. What I do, once we just kind of get the applications and we get the names and we announce them here. So, but what, for example, the list I'm looking at, it shows that Pierre appointed Lucy Thundro. Marcellus appointed Mary Flint. This list isn't updated, but I know what list you're talking about, Mayor. So I'm going to work with whoever I have to work with to get an updated list, and it's going to be better. It's going to be a better updated list the next council meeting. I just have to appoint someone from my office to take care of this and get an updated list so that we can make the appointments, I guess, efficiently.
But Madam Mayor, last year we had the same problem, Mr. Clerk. I don't remember how did we end up resolve that problem, but this is something that I would like for you to bring back up. Either that all the boards goes under your leadership, or we actually appoint someone to take care of it, because I don't like the fact that it's coming back. They're putting more work onto your shop if it's not belong there.
Right.
So we need to clarify where,
Right.
who's not doing work.
The last time we had this discussion, we don't mind what we're doing now.
Okay.
And then that was the agreement. But when for example, you were never given an update as to who's showing up to these boards and who's not. Because, according to some ordinance, if a member missed 2 or 3 meetings, then they're off. Every board member under the leadership of the manager's office have a liaison, and that liaison is the one responsible to get you that information.
Supposed to report to whom?
Well, they report to the manager's office. But all I do is come up here and read. I deal with the names. We get the applications, we keep that copy there, and then I read the names to you and get the appointments from you.
Okay.
But in terms of inside information, the liaison reports to the administrator, the manager, regarding who's showing up and
Who's the
not.
liaison? We don't have one.
Exactly. The manager has that list. There's a liaison for every board.
Can you guys take care of that before while we're in recess, please?
Yeah, we did, and the only time that, if there's no problem, then there's no problem. If there's somebody absent, then we bring it to the clerk's attention, and that he would do it. The reason why you don't have anybody that has been dormant, because there has not been a problem.
Well, there have been any new appointees. I have not appointed anyone else in any board.
Right.
First of all, because I would like to have the list of the boards, and there are some of the boards that I would like to revive. For example, the Community Relation Board and 2 other boards that have not been active. And we need to know how many boards we have, and for us during the vacation time to find the people that we would like to appoint in those boards, so that way we can be current on next meeting. Now?
The clerk and I will orchestrate it.
Thank you. City Attorney's report.
No,
I'm sorry, you're not done.
We have 2 more.
Okay.
Now, according to the resolution passed last year, every 6 months there's a rotation regarding the vice mayor election. My recommendation would be to have this election after the session, because again, I've been gone for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So it's up to the council ultimately. I have no say in this, but I would recommend that we have the rotation election next week, because the last council meeting, it wasn't announced that we were having
recess next week? You're talking
I'm
about
sorry,
when we come back?
next council meeting. But it's up to you guys if you want to make any nominations.
Why do we have to announce it?
Well, it's been a custom that we would announce it before the actual vote. So it's up to you, because this is your shop, this isn't mine, so you deal with it the way you want. But I think we should keep the vice mayor we have now, and you guys can decide who you're going to vote for next time. It's your call. Even though you don't side with me.
Next report, Mr. Clerk. You have anything else to report?
No, this is the last one.
That's it, okay. Let's move on with City Attorney's report.
None, thank you.
None?
I have none.
City
Thank you so
Manager
much.
report. City Manager?
Yes, we will be working with the budget. We will be making contact with the various council members to discuss the budget, as well as an update of the analysis of the millage rate, and how we will move forward with that. That would be all budgetary. So we'll be in contact with you. Also, we want to announce that we do have our 2012 annual report. These are going out for distribution, and they're available, and we'll make them available to you in your offices, and you will receive these in a package. That's all my report that I have.
I got to congratulate one person, by the way. I want to congratulate Jackie and the clerk's office. We're getting the numbers in. We had about, over the past 2 years, we had over 32,000 residents of South Florida visit that office. And I know Bierman went down there. Lucy, you've been down there several times to meet the constituents that's waiting in the lines to get the services. I got to say, I have 3 different employments now, or probably 2 now. I don't work as hard as the members, the kids that I have down there, and as Jackie and that staff works. We're understaffed, but they are servicing so many people. Every time you go down there, there's a long line, and I want to
Mr. Clerk, I
congratulate.
thought you were going to ask for a bigger space.
No,
because I've seen this line in the lobby.
That's what everyone's talking about, but that's what all the council members are telling me. But I don't want to be pushy there. But we're gonna they're doing a great job. I want to congratulate Lois, Jackie, and that staff. But the manager and I will discuss the bigger space.
All right.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll
Do I
move
hear a
to
motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you, everyone.